Hello students, we are here to start the third chapter for today, and the name of the third chapter is US hegemony in the world politics. We had already finished our two chapters, and please go and check your student ID. I have already sent you two assignments, and today I shall be giving you worksheet also from chapter 1 and 2. So please see that and do it in your notebook, and also keep making your notes according to the topics which I am doing chapter wise here. So today's topic is US hegemony in the world politics. So here what we should focus is the word hegemony. What is the meaning of hegemony? So before I go further in this chapter, I would like to explain you the meaning of this particular word. So see, I have written two small definitions here. This will make easy for you to understand this particular meaning of this particular word. So you will be able to understand the reason behind this particular word which have been put with US. Leadership or dominance, focus on this, leadership or dominance, especially by one state or the social group over other. This is the leadership. In layman's language, if I call it, it means dadagiri. Like among our friends in school or outside the school, we have a group, or in our class we have a certain personalities who always want to show their dominance or their power, or they want to influence the whole group according to their wishes. In the same way, US always wanted to show its leadership, dominance, power, and control the world politics. That is why this particular word hegemony has been added up or tagged up with the US. Leadership or dominance, especially by one state or the social group over other. Here one group state was US, and it wanted to show its leadership, dominance, or controlling behavior over the other countries all over the world. And another definition I have written, its meaning is same, the position of being the strongest. Hegemony is any position where an individual tries to become the strongest and the most powerful, and therefore able to control the others, so that he or she can control the whole group. But here it's about countries. So US wanted to be the strongest and the most powerful among the all the countries in the world, so that it could control all the world politics according to its wish. But why this term came up, how this term came out, US hegemony? Because in the first and second chapter we read that after Second World War there were two superpowers, and what were the incident which took part in Second World War. So I would like to suggest you here, before we read any topic, we must go behind it, that what was the history and why we are reading it, what were the incidents associated with it, so that we can understand the meaning of a particular topic properly. So before I start the topic US hegemony, I have told you the meaning of hegemony here: dominating or leadership qualities of a particular nation to control the whole world politics. So here I would like to tell you a small history which I have already told you many times, but I am revising it here again because this is associated with hegemony of US. So we already know World War 1939 to 1945. There were two groups, allies, and the members of allies were US, USSR, Britain, France. You already know these four countries. Other part was Axis. Under Axis, these allies were Germany, Japan, and Italy. And very well know, Germany, Japan, and Italy lost in the Second World War. But here the most powerful was USA and USSR. Britain and France, I told you, could not survive because of its weak economy, because they were in direct confrontation or border areas with Germany from 1939. They were in direct war with Germany from 1939, so they exhausted their all economic resources, so they focused on their economic growth and development, so they could not be the superpowers after Second World War. So there were two poles, US and USSR, which were called the two superpowers. But after then there was a Cold War between them for the power, for the authority, and to show their that communism or capitalist system was, which one was the best for the world. Here US supported capitalist system, USSR supported communism or socialism system. But finally this was the confrontation between these two were called the Cold War, which was from 1945 to 1991, because in 1991 USSR disintegrated or collapsed, and USSR means Russia plus 14 countries. So after US was collapsed, finished, the world was left with only one superpower, that is USA. this was the sole power now. There was no competition with USA with any other country. This was the most powerful now after disintegration of USSR in 1991. Now the hegemony. Now we are coming to the chapter. After the disintegration of USSR, people thought there was a hegemony of USA now. But if we see it clearly, the hegemony of USA had started way back in 1945. That is the end of the Second World War, when US dropped bombs on Japan, that is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. From that particular period, we can say that US has started showing its hegemony, its power in the world politics. But in 1991, we can say that after USSR disintegrated, there only left sole power US. So, but still there was no full-fledged hegemony. There was a slow and gradual dominance of US. But after 1991, few incidents took place, military incidents took place in the world politics, world arena, where USA for the first time proved and showed that it was a hegemon. It was a hegemony of its era. US was running the world politics according to its wish, as it was too powerful. So in this chapter we are going to study the few incidents or circumstances under which the people or the world came to know that in fact they were living under the hegemonic world which was ruled by US. And before, although it has started its hegemonic powers or behavior in 1945, but it became clear after 1991. But it directly did not start behaving like a hegemonic power directly after 1991, but slowly and gradually, as the years went by, many situations and circumstances came along. Many wars were there, where USA for the first time proved that it was a most powerful and it was controlling the world politics according to its wish. So in this chapter further we shall be focusing on those events. So here this is the first instance where US showed that the world was in fact living in the hegemonic power under US. Invasion of Kuwait, that is also called the First Gulf War. It is called invasion of Kuwait as well as the First Gulf War. So in your NCERT books, these details are not given. They have directly given you the date that on this date Iraq invaded Kuwait and rest of the things therefore. But they have not told the history that why Iraq attacked on Kuwait. Before we move forward, I would like you to understand the map. And in fact, for every place and countries where you are confused, you must go and watch the map first. Then accordingly, you should study it. When you will be knowing the location of the different countries, you will be able to understand the topic properly. That is why this is not in your NCERT book, but I want you to understand this. This is a map. Okay. Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. These all countries are petrol producing countries. As we know very well, other countries, these are petrol producing countries. Lot of production of petrol is here. So countries Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. Iraq in 1980 to 1988, for around 8 years, Iran and Iraq were having war. They were having some border problems. So there was a war between those two countries. For these long 8 years, in this war, lot of economic losses were faced by both of the countries. But the president of Iraq was Saddam Hussein from 1979 to 2003. The president of Iraq. The president of Iraq was Saddam Hussein. To convince his public, his people, he said that all the economic losses which were being faced by Iraq, and there were internal problems for all the peoples. Economically, this country was going weaker and weaker. He blamed or he accused Kuwait. He did not blame that we are in war for 8 years, so we are having so much of economic losses. But in the other way, he accused Kuwait for its economic losses. What he said? He said here, Iraq accused Kuwait and Saudi Arabia for its economic loss of around $100 billion. Iraq, Saddam Hussein said that Kuwait and Saudi Arabia were the reasons for its weak economy or the economic losses, which are around total sum of $100 billion, which is a very huge sum. Here, as Iraq said, Kuwait did cross drilling of oil. Here is written, as Iraq said, Kuwait did cross drilling of oil. What is cross drilling of oil? It said This is the boundary between Iraq and Kuwait, but Kuwait made its oil fields here and underground piped it and soaked the petrol of Iraq. That is called cross drilling. It took the oil or the petrol of Iraq in its own boundary. It also said Kuwait was exceeding production of oil. Here, a particular limit was set that a particular country can produce this much amount of petroleum. But Kuwait, for its economic growth, was continuously exceeding production of oil. So these two reasons were put up by Iraq to accuse Kuwait and Saudi Arabia for its economic loss. So Iraq said or warned Kuwait in 1990. In 1990, directly it came with consultation with Kuwait to pay compensation. Iraq, Saddam Hussein forced Kuwait to pay compensation for its all economic losses of around $100 billion which have been done, or else it will attack, or Iraq will attack Kuwait if Kuwait doesn't pay its compensation of its losses till date. And Iraq was in direct confrontation with Kuwait and wanted to and could easily attack Kuwait, as Iraq was supported by US, which was one of the superpowers at this particular period, because we are talking about 1990. Still USSR did not disintegrate, and Iran was supported by US. When war was going between these two, Iran was supported by USSR, but Iraq, or definitely when this was being supported by USSR, Iraq will be supported by US, as these two were under Cold War in 1990s, because USSR disintegrated in 1991, but we are talking about 1990. So these two were supported by USSR, and this Iraq was supported by US. So it directly said that I will attack Kuwait if Kuwait doesn't pay me my compensation for all economic losses. So in a table conference, there was a table conference or table meeting conference, it was decided that Kuwait will pay 10 billion. So finally a decision was made that Iraq will not attack on Kuwait, but Kuwait will pay 10 billions to Iraq. But finally Kuwait paid only $9 billion. But before that, when Iran was in war with Iraq has borrowed 14 billion. Kuwait had given 14 billion to Iraq when it was in war with Iran. And here down I am telling you 10 more billions were told by the conference to give it to Iraq. That is, but it gave only 9 billion. But the things did not work properly between these two countries. There was a lot of confusion, and finally Kuwait 400 billion to Iraq during war was with Iran. So things did not work down properly, and Iraq attacked on Kuwait. So finally, remember the date, on 2nd August 1990, Iraq attacked on Kuwait. From here your NCERT part is starting. All the details I gave you regarding the map and extra about what were the internal problems between Iraq, Iran and Kuwait is not a part of your topic, but still I told you so that you will have the clear understanding that what was the invasion of Kuwait or what was the First World War. So here, when there was a problem between Kuwait and Iran due to the oil issues or the compensation, things did not work out properly. Iran attacked on Kuwait, as Iran was supported by US, so it wanted to attack Kuwait and invade it. On 2nd August 1990, Iraq attacked on Kuwait. Iraq had fourth largest, at that particular period 1990, Iraq had fourth largest army in the world. So it took just 2 days to invade Kuwait. It attacked on Kuwait, and within 2 days it had invaded Kuwait, controlled all the parts of Kuwait politically, socially, economically, and the people of Kuwait to save their life went to Saudi Arabia, which was a neighboring country to Kuwait. Saudi Arabia was a neighboring country of Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia gave them refuge, or they became the refugees in Saudi Arabia, people of Kuwait. Later Saudi Arabia wanted to help Kuwait to free their country, and they also wanted that liberation of Kuwait from Iraqi rule. So Saudi Arabia took help and support of US against Iraq. And here I would like to tell you, although Iraq was being supported by US to attack on Kuwait or war against Iran, but Saudi Arabia had good terms and conditions with US. When Saudi Arabia asked for the help from US was against Iraq now. Although previously US was supporting Iraq, but now US was against Iraq and it wanted to help Saudi Arabia and wanted to liberate the people of Kuwait and free Kuwait from the rule of Iraq. So finally, so there were a lot of diplomatic methods were used to convince Iraq or Saddam Hussein to free Kuwait or move back to their own country and leave Kuwait alone. But the things did not work out properly. So finally, on 17 January 1991, United Nations started an operation. Now United Nations came into action and it started an operation, and the name of the operation was Desert Storm. Remember the name of the operation. This was an operation started by United Nations against Iraq to liberate people or this particular country Kuwait from the rule of Iraq, to mandate here Operation Desert Storm, to mandate the liberation of Kuwait by force. Now because diplomatic methods were not being into use, as Iraq was not in the mood to listen to any world politics, not even to UN. Now UN wanted to free or liberalize the Kuwait people by force. So finally 6,60,000 groups of army or military from 34 countries, 6,60,000 troops of 34 countries moved to a war against Iraq to free Kuwait from the Iraqi rule. But from these 6,60,000, 75% troops belong to only US. From all these 100%, 75% troops or military was of US. So we can say that although this was an operation run by the United Nations in which 34 countries took part and helped to free Kuwait from the Iraqi rule, but from them 75% army was of the US. So we can say that from this stance, for the first time US hegemony came into observation through Operation Desert Storm. Through this Desert Storm, we came to know for the first time that US hegemony had been started and we were living in a world where it was run by the US hegemony according to its weight. It was the most powerful. So this operation was won by, so finally this operation was won by US due to the vast technological gap between US army capabilities and other states. So after this operation, what were the two things came forward? That US and other countries has a lot of technological gap and also US military capabilities. So we can say that during Operation Desert Storm, people watched from their homes. They were sitting in their living rooms and watching TV and saw this war or destruction of Iraq on their TV live. And this was also called the technological gap, or it was also called the computer war. It was called the video game war, and also use of smart bombs were made during this invasion of Iraq. So we can say that there was a lot of technological gap between US and other world or countries, which came to be known in this particular operation. Its name was Desert Storm. One more thing which came in that US made all the countries, whenever they are in war, they go through a lot of loss of economy, but here US made profit out of the war for the first time, as most of the army, I told you around 75% of the army troops were of US. So the other countries, developed countries like Germany, Japan, Saudi Arabia, whose army members were less as compared to the members of US, had to pay economy or the money to US. So US after this particular operation also gained a profit of economic gain. So this topic. So before I move forward, I just want to share a few things. Whatever discussion I have done till now, that what were the circumstances, how hegemony started, and how world came to know that they were already living under a hegemonic power first time when Iraq attacked on Kuwait, and Kuwait was attacked by troops of 34 countries together. So I'm just giving a summary of this discussion here. Just 4 points I'm giving you here. Needs to listen them carefully, all relevant. In August 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait rapidly occupying and finally controlling it. After series of diplomatic attempts failed at convincing Iraq to quit its aggression, the United Nations mandated the liberation of Kuwait by force. For the UN, this was a dramatic decision for years to deadlock during the Cold War. The US President George W. Bush hailed the emergence of New World Order. From this incident, New World Order had started. The first instance of US hegemony came into observation through Operation Desert Storm by UN during the first Gulf War to retreat Iraqi forces from Kuwait. This operation was won by US due to this was easily won by US because there was a vast technological gap between US military and capability and other states. Although this was operation put up by UN, but it was forwarded by US Army. When this war was going on, widespread television coverage also made it a video game. It became like a video game. People were sitting in their rooms or drawing rooms and watching this war on their TV live. Viewers around world watching the destruction of Iraqi forces live on TV in the comfort of their living rooms. The US got more money. This is an important point. US got more money from countries like Germany, Japan, Saudi Arabia than it had spent on war. Whatever it had spent on its military troops, which was 75%, more than that it had gained by this war. So in the next topic, we will do in the other topic.